Hi, this is Roberta Glass, and today we're going to be talking about, wait, don't tell me, who's the child abuser at NPR? So I got a really great comment on my NXIVM video about another case that happened in the early 2000s, and I'll start out this recording by reading it. Thanks for making this a safe space to discuss things in the news, especially of this nature, which is very uncomfortable. I like someone I found out through another commentator on a podcast that interviews celebrities. He was commenting that a female celebrity being interviewed was not properly punished for the crimes with children, and a guy would have had the book thrown at him. I asked if it was true. If this female star had been arrested for a lewd act on a child, or if it was malicious gossip. I had been a fan, and I heard she was saying it was due to her alcohol problem. Then I got attacked viciously. So I reluctantly looked up the details of the case. I looked at several articles, reading carefully. She was convicted of lewd acts on a minor under 14. Lewd acts are defined as when an adult tries to get a child to sexually arouse them or vice versa. It is a serious charge. People do not understand what a lewd act is. She would have gotten 13 years and 4 months, but her lawyer copped a plea. She lost her ability to foster a child. The girls and other kids were returned. She got back her originally adopted children after she did what the court asked of her, which was therapy and addiction counseling. I was attacked by 2 men, called an idiot. I was told to use my critical thinking. I think I do that very well, and this is why I researched. She is now a felon. So why do I like this comment so much? Well, one, it brings up a case that I had forgotten about, which is Paula Poundstone, the comedian who, like that comment describes, was arrested for endangering children and 3 counts of lewd acts on a child. Now, that comment says she was convicted, which she was never convicted of it. She copped a plea before she was convicted of it. And she copped it down to child endangerment and pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor of harming a child or inflicting injury on a child. So those that don't remember, in the 80s, not that I was alive in the 80s, but I'm just kidding. Obviously, I was alive in the 80s to remember this. It was stand-up comedy got very big, and Paula Poundstone was one of those comedians that came up in the 80s. And by the time of her arrest, her career had cooled a little, but she was still making about they said $985,000, but her lawyer said probably more. So close to $1 million or more a year when she was arrested in June of 2001. And it got a lot of play in the press. And I remember watching the film footage of her walking in and out of the court. And then as soon as they made the plea, it became a thing about her driving drunk with the kids. That became the real story. And 3 counts of lewd acts on a child under the age of 14 was just swept under the rug and forgotten. And very soon after that, she was hired by NPR. And the commenter brings up, people were saying, well, this would, the only reason that she continued to work was because she was a woman. But you look at all these people, like Dan Schneider, who's been accused, even Brian Peck. There's plenty of male child abusers that continue to work. So, I mean, I don't think it's a particularly a woman thing. But I was very interested in listening to the interview that the commenter talks about. And it's so uncomfortable to talk about child abuse. It's an interview with Mark Maron and Paula Poundstone. And he's saying, well, you take responsibility for yourself, right? And she's sort of talking about drinking water and like how she didn't realize she just needed a good night's sleep and she put herself in that position. Because basically what she was saying in the interview is that she, her alcoholism caused the whole thing, and that if she weren't drinking, it would have never have happened. And certainly driving drunk with your kids won't happen if you're not drinking, right? You're not going to get caught driving drunk if you're sober. So I would have to agree with her there. But furthermore, to blame this on alcohol, I think that you could get me as drunk, load me up with a ton of drugs, and I'm not going to be abusing kids. There's a deeper issue here that we just don't touch. You know what? Don't take my word for it. Let's just listen to a clip.
Of course, and we're hiking along, and I'm noticing myself sort of sinking like a rock emotionally, and I couldn't figure out why. I'm like, wait, I'm where I want to be, doing what I want to be doing, with whom I want to be doing it.
Right.
What's the matter? And later, when I realized that we didn't drink enough water, it actually was one of the most eye-opening things of my entire life. Do you know it's really important to drink water?
That's what I hear.
Yeah. I've spent my...
I hear it's necessary.
As it turns out. I've spent my life... I drink a lot of diet soda. That does not help.
I used to do that. Used to do that on stage, too. Were you a cab person?
I still... No, that was Goldthwait. I still drink a lot of diet soda, and I know it's not good for me, but I do enjoy it. But I drink a lot of water now because it actually is connected to your emotional well-being, which is why when you go to a therapist, they never say, would you like a glass of water?
Right. That's part of what we were talking about before, the vet thing, the dentist thing, the orthodontist. That's part of their racket. No water.
It's absolutely true. To some degree, I realize that lives are complicated and all, but to some degree, some elements I think of happiness and balance are so much easier than I ever thought them to be. You know what I mean?
And it happens a little with age a little bit too. You start to relax a little bit.
That may be part of it. I think that you go through a chemical change, or certainly I did in at about 40. But drink some water and get a decent night's sleep, and it's the darndest. And I just think of all those years of all the therapy, all the angst, all the journaling, all the, miserable phone calls. And I look back on it now just with deep humiliation. Like, okay, drink some water and go to bed.
Take a rest.
It's not all that challenging.
Did you find that when you were going through the legal problems, because I know as being a person that is not a mainstream person necessarily and has sort of an odd point of view on the world, and that people want to believe you're an oddball, that some people, despite the fact, copping to a drinking problem and having the other stuff explained and dismissed, that some people wanted to hold you, they wanted to believe the worst.
Oh, for sure, but not the fans. Not the people who actually enjoy me.
Yeah.
Stuck with me. And that's that. But I was never. I've never had an enormous fan base.
Right.
I think I always was a bit of a boutique, and so and that just was. And
you addressed it on stage, and you did some material about it.
Oh, yeah. Only because it was on my mind a lot. My act is largely autobiographical. I mean, I talk about at this point raising a house full of kids and animals.
You have 3 kids?
I do. Trying to pay enough attention to the news to cast a halfway decent vote, which is not always easy to do. The poor sad state of our public schools and our broadcast news. And then my favorite part of the night is talking to the audience. I do the time-honored, where are you from, what do you do for a living? But therefore, when I first started out, when I was 19, I talked a lot about bussing tables and taking public transportation. And, when I was lucky enough to get kids, I talked a lot about raising kids. And when I, had legal troubles, I talked a lot about legal. It's sort of what is in my life.
How do you feel you were treated by the legal system in general?
Fairly lousy. But you know what? Here's the thing about the legal system. It's the same thing as a political system, which is that it is filled with people. And, we are all flawed. And so it's not going to be, it's not a science. So you're going to deal with personalities and...
Is that rambling? I mean, do you get any sense that she's really sorry for abusing her foster daughter 3 times on 3 different days? I mean, it didn't just happen once, like one drunk time, May 19th, June 5th, June 6th. She ran with it. She did it once, she did it again, she did it a 3rd time. But it really was because she wasn't drinking enough water. I mean, isn't that pathetic? Not one tough question. And I think Mark Maron says, well, you take responsibility for yourself, right? I mean, he's just putting words in her mouth, like hoping that she would say that. Nothing of what she said that. The legal system was terrible. I wasn't drinking enough water. And she said there was a big change right around when I turned 40. Well, guess when she got arrested? When she was 41. And I don't mean to vilify one person, but I want to talk about 2 different things. One is that we're a culture of silence. And secondly, if you bring up these issues, you are treated much more poorly than the actual person who commits these acts. So what I'm saying is, Foxy bot in the comment section for saying, wait, well, what did Paula Poundstone do? Oh, wow, lewd acts under 14, that's really terrible. She's treated worse than Paula Poundstone, who committed them. Called an idiot. Paula Poundstone never got called an idiot. And you can say, well, she's a celebrity, blah, blah, blah. But I see this again and again when you just when you speak the truth, things that are factually accurate. You're called an idiot. And we are in a culture of so much myth. And I just reread the deepest fairy tale, which is The Emperor Has No Clothes. The Emperor's New Clothes. Sorry, The Emperor Has No Clothes. The Emperor's New Clothes by Hans Christian Andersen. I really encourage everybody listening to this to reread that. Because, boy, is that a deep story. And for any young people listening to this, debate, discussion makes you smarter. This age of no platforming, we are dumbing ourselves down to a dangerous level with it. I can't tell you, almost every feminist channel that I belong to has been shut down by trans activists who don't like the fact that they say that men in dresses are still men. That if you grow a pair of breasts, cut off your penis, you're still a man. Doesn't change it. That's apparently a revolutionary statement. But I watch as every single video becomes deleted video, channel gone, channel gone, channel gone. And, I put myself out there making these videos. I express unpopular opinions. I expect a certain amount of backlash. I get called the C word, dumb, stupid. But you don't know your facts. That's what I get. You don't know your facts. You have your facts all wrong. You didn't prove anything. But they have no facts to offer. Just put it down, put the person down, shut them up. What kind of culture has this become? Really? We used to have something called the Fairness Doctrine on TV, where a certain segment, if it was over, I think it was like 30% of the population, maybe less. I got to research this. Actually, I don't have my facts right. I think I might do a video on the Fairness Doctrine, but we used to have both sides of an issue on TV discussed. And you could actually make a informed opinion from watching a debate. Now we just have one opinion, the right opinion. And why is it that someone like Roseanne, who expresses some what you could call it bigotry. But it's just words. Why isn't she's not allowed to work, but Paula Poundstone is? Who's assaulted touched a child under 14 3 different times, pleaded down, did 5 years probation. She doesn't even get a tough question. She's still working. I just think this idea of hate speech is very dangerous. And I don't know if anybody remembers Helen Thomas, who was a journalist who expressed an unpopular opinion, which was that Israel should get out of Palestine. She lost her job with no discussion. And I wonder if sometimes the point is to just squash discussion and move on. So everybody's afraid to speak out. Everybody with an unpopular opinion is afraid to speak out. But when you look at The Emperor Has No Clothes, the people who were the fraudsters in it were very clever, and they said that anybody who can't see this fabric is an idiot. They're a really crappy person. And you see that in this culture. Anyone who holds this opinion, or if you believe this, then you're an idiot. So that if you do think that, you're afraid to express yourself. And if you look at the Ash conformity experiments, we will say something that is wrong just to get approval. Just to not have a socially awkward moment, just to be in the group. And in those Ash conformity experiments, when they grouped people together, where they had a partner who could go against the herd, they were more likely to say the truth. They were braver in pairs. So it's hard to speak out, say the truth, and know that you're going to get attacked. But why is it? Why is it that the people who just mention the facts of Paula Poundstone's arrest, why are they treated more poorly than Paula Poundstone herself? These fawning interviews. You see that all the time, too, with interviewers, where they just put words in the mouth, with things that they'd like to hear them say, but they're not saying. Well, you really take responsibility. You're really sorry, aren't you? Did she say she was sorry? I heard her talk about water and how terrible the legal system was. Drinking water. It's a big change around my 40s, right around the arrest. I mean, this is just, I don't know. It's a source of endless frustration. So this place, the comment section, I'd like it to be a place where people could express their opinions, if they can back them up. So if you have an opinion, back it up. Why do you think that? Don't just say this stinks. Why? Why? I think he's guilty. Why? Back it up. Back up your argument. But I'd like the comment section to be a safe space to express your opinions, and I'd like this to be my channel to be a place to come and hear maybe an opinion you don't agree with. Maybe you do. But I will be continuing to talk about uncomfortable subjects that people don't talk about, because I feel like I have to. Time.